Welcome into your Louisiana Geaux Nation. He is Brian Holland. I'm Chessa Boucher. We wrap up spring football for Lane Kiffin and company like 6 months into the job.
Right, yeah.
And then we have the NFL
This is the
draft.
point in the relationship where you go by months instead of like kind of like a newborn.
Yes, we're not there yet for
it's
the
a
year
newborn
mark.
relationship, Lane. We're just here.
All right, what are we going to talk about for what we
I
learned
threw
this
you
week?
off your game.
You did.
We got football, we got NFL draft. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, you know me. I like to go NFL draft.
That is not like you, actually, at all. What are you talking about? That's my gig.
I'm going to take your thunder this
All
week.
right, go ahead.
This is what I learned this week. The way I was raised, you reap what you sow. You put in what you get out, period. Thank you, Sherry Lynn, for that. But Diego Pavia, he is the opposite. And what I mean by that, is he a talented quarterback? Yes. Was he a game changer at a program that hasn't had a ton of success there at Vanderbilt? Absolutely. Did he hear his name called in this year's NFL draft? Nope. And you know why? Two things. One, he's an undersized quarterback. He's listed as 5'9" and 7/8, just almost 5'10". Your prototypical NFL QB is 6'2", 6'3". However, there are two QBs in the league who are 5'10", Bryce Young and Kyler Murray, both Heisman Trophy winners, something that Diego Pavia doesn't have. Both #1 overall draft picks, something that Diego Pavia isn't, and both threw for over 4,300 yards and over 40 touchdowns in their Heisman year. Pavia, he threw for just over 3,500 yards and 29 touchdowns. Those other two quarterbacks, they threw for almost 1,000 more yards and almost double the amount of touchdowns. Now, Pavia was a Heisman runner-up, but his off-the-field antics truly stand out to me. I'm all for the underdog, and I even rooted for him in the beginning. It takes guts to go to Vandy and have the type of season he had, but you can't then poo-poo on Heisman voters because you didn't get your way. Act like a grown-up. You win with class and you lose with class, and he has none, and it shows. And I wish this would have been a wake-up call for him with the NFL not drafting him, but instead Baltimore did sign him, and nothing will change. And I just think that you have to have character and you have to hold yourself to a different standard. And he doesn't do that. He is not a professional, and I don't think he'll have much of a career.
Something that really stuck with me is you said you win with class, then you have to lose with class. And he really didn't at any point in his career. I understand the chip on your shoulder. That's why we rooted for him.
Yeah, that's why we get it.
You can't take it that extra mile and then look like that. And then the other thing I would say is the one thing that would save you from this is nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. So that contract, it could go away here in the next few weeks. But look, what I learned is greed will always greed. The NCAA tournament, basically receiving the pathway to expand to 76 teams for the NCAA tournament starting next season. But here's my question. Who asked for this? You look at polling across the sports landscape at a large amount of the actual viewership, they are not in favor of this, not even a vocal minority. So what are we doing? I say that, it's a we. Not a we, it is what are you doing, NCAA? Also, anyone notice how quickly this was floated and then it just got done all of a sudden? In fact, they've expanded this big dance now 3 times in the past 2 decades.
Wow.
But what happens when there's actual change needed, not wanted? The NCAA throws up its hands and says, we need Congress to do the heavy lifting for us. Do we see how inept and impotent these powers that be truly are? Or are they just extremely selective about the days that they want to roll out of bed and actually get some work done? Anyone want to fix NIL? Just make sure the NCAA gets a cut of the money, and then you'll finally see some action.
I agree with you on that. Greed is going to greed. All right, on to LSU football, spring football that is. Remember, there's no spring portal after practices are over, so LSU is hoping their depth, especially at cornerback, can develop on its own this summer before fall camp.
I think that that's a huge emphasis for us into this offseason to look at, because some guys did some decent things, but nobody stepped up to make you feel great in that. We've got a lot of work to do in that, and that's what I said. There's no portal to go to. So we've got to develop our guys and get the most out of them and look at what coverages we're playing with everybody and all those things, because, again, it's different. This is your roster. This is what you're set with. There's nowhere to go. So how are you going to – what programs are going to make the best even utilizing, whether that's position changes, whether that's different schemes, like I said earlier, to make the most of what you have.
All right, just getting it started right here in a 30-minute edition of your Louisiana Geaux Nation. 2 former Tigers are headed to Kansas City. You know what that means, Chessa. They need to get southbound 35 in a hurry because it ain't safe up there in KC. No, I'm just kidding. We'll recap this year's NFL draft coming up.
Plus, we'll have the latest on LSU's new signal caller. It is good news for the purple and gold faithful. That's next right here in your Louisiana Geaux Nation. Welcome back in your Louisiana Geaux Nation. He is Brian Hall and I'm Chessa Boucher. Spring practice is officially in the rearview mirror for Lane Kiffin and company. Yeah, we saw what a lot of teams see across the country going into fall camp. That offense kind of has to catch up to the defense in a lot of ways, but it also accentuated maybe one of your weaknesses there on offense, the offensive line, and that is an identity that Lane Kiffin and company want to get going for the fall.
I think that offensively position has probably developed the best, through a couple weeks, has played well together, and in my opinion is dramatically improved from when we got here. That's probably been the one bright spot. I have really high standards and expectations, and we're not tackling, so that obviously creates more yards because there's missed tackles within a game, and you'd feel a little better, but I think the offensive line is coming along really well.
Now, LSU fans had a moment when they learned that their future quarterback, Sam Leavitt, would have to sit out a majority of practices due to his ongoing foot injury. But there's some good news for the Tigers' signal caller. Our very own Sarah Palczewski has more.
Things were far from perfect in Lane Kiffin's first spring at LSU. There were plenty of growing pains, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But that group was able to make significant strides as the spring progressed under quarterbacks Susan Longstreet and Landon Clark. There's still plenty of questions as the Tigers head into the summer, considering Arizona State transfer quarterback Sam Leavitt barely practiced all spring, but he did take a positive step in his recovery from his foot injury. Kiffin said Leavitt went through some 7-on-7 work during their final spring scrimmage this past Saturday. Despite not being on the field much this spring, Kiffin is confident in the steps his new QB has taken to be ready come summer.
He's doing a great job. I just met with him this morning on some things, and he's a really competitive, want to be great, want the team to be great. He's in a really good place that way. He really spends a lot of time up here, and that's not easy. When you're not playing, it's a little bit harder to stay locked in and go to walkthroughs and do all those things, but he's taking that very seriously. He's real serious about being great. If we're in the team room and I said to all the players, how many of you love football? Every single one will raise their hand. Well, they don't. Some do. Most love what football gives them. Very few of them really love the game, like the work that's within it. And Sam is that. We talked about it today. He loves to work. He loves to go home at night and spend more time on football and things he can develop, not just physically but mentally also.
Since there's no longer a spring transfer portal window, the challenge for Kiffin and his staff this summer and fall is developing the players they already have on their roster to fill the remaining holes in their depth chart. Reporting on LSU football for your Geaux Nation, I'm Sarah Palczewski.
And just across the parking lot, LSU softball with their regular season series finale this weekend, taking on Auburn there at Tiger Park. They're sitting pretty, I should say, as we like to say here. They are in that top 16 seed to host a regional ballpark, if you will, sitting at number 11, number 10 there in the RPI as far as their range. But top 8 is where you're guaranteed to also host a super regional as well.
Let's hope it's not their last game at Tiger Park. I'm sitting 10 in RPI today, so we're feeling like if we can do some good things here moving forward, we'll be in good shape. But I think we just need to play well this weekend, need to play well at the tournament, and I think we have put forth a strong resume. I mean, I told the team last night, you've won every game you should win. Are there some we could have won? Of course, but there's not a bad loss on this schedule, and 11 quad 1 wins. I think, we'll put that up against anybody.
Coming up, Kellen Moore and company adding some LSU flavor in this year's NFL draft.
Yeah, they weren't the only ones. Mansour Delane, a top 10 pick and headed to Kansas City. We'll talk about that next right here in your Geaux Nation.
With the 6th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Mansour Delane, defensive back, LSU.
Welcome back in your Louisiana Go Nation. He is Brian Hall and I'm Chessa Boucher. And with that, DBU is in KC.
Think about this, the Chiefs, just such a storied franchise and one that's had so much recent success, and especially the Super Bowl and the playoffs. They trade up for a talent like Mansour Delane, and Delane did not disappoint in his time at LSU, certainly kind of bringing back that DBU mentality. And then he told ESPN on the stage that the Chiefs had just made the best move of the draft by selecting him to the top of the talent. I like the attitude there, Mansour. He only spent 1 year at Baton Rouge, but he says that move shaped him in where he now is today.
Goes back to the reason why I went to LSU. You know, I run to the competition. I run to, you know, the best. And, you know, now being able to go against those guys in practice or, you know, whenever that time comes, I think that gets me to be the best player I possibly can be. Man, I can't thank that school for anything more. Really just, you know, giving me the platform, allowing me to, you know, be with my brothers, and then just growing me as a person, growing me as a player, and everything else was up to me to go do it. And they gave me the opportunity, and I'm so grateful for that.
With the 8th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State.
Who are the Saints? I don't know. Is that the Michael Thomas version of the Saints and running Saints across the middle? Okay, this guy, Jordan Tyson, coming from Arizona State, is your first-round draft pick now. He gets to team up with your now franchise quarterback, Tyler Shuck. And then remember, last year's first-round selection was Kelvin Banks Jr. there on offense, protecting Shuck. So you can see the emotion. I love that part of the NFL draft. And Louis Riddick with ESPN said he was the best receiver in the draft. The Saints believe they now have their dynamic duo there at wideout.
Now, the biggest surprise of the draft, quarterback Garrett Nussmeier having to wait until the 249th overall pick to hear his name called. Most experts expected Nuss to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick, but he wasn't selected until the 7th round by the Chiefs, with 9 other quarterbacks taken ahead of him.
Obviously, it was difficult for me sitting there, you know, and not understanding why, I guess you could say. You know, obviously, I have a belief in myself and, you know, where I believe that I should have been valued. And at the end of the day, I'm just grateful for this opportunity. I said throughout this entire process, it's not when, it's where. And I couldn't be more blessed to go to such a great team, such a great organization.
And coming up, we recap the biggest weekend at the NFL Draft with a little LSU flavor in the mix. That's right here on your Louisiana Go Nation. Welcome back in your Louisiana Go Nation. He is Brian Hall and I'm Chessa Boucher. Wide receiver Barium Brown is trading in his purple and gold for the black and gold.
Yeah, I think Saints fans love to hear an LSU Tiger stand here in South Louisiana, taking in the 6th round, making him the first Tiger the Saints have drafted since 2018. And Brown fills a special teams role as well. His kick return abilities, I know everyone down here knows he has a whopping 6 career return touchdowns, just one shy of an NCAA record.
Kind of always had it in the back of my head that I was going there. This is the only hat that my parents bought today, which is crazy. And, man, just love the facility and just love the connections that I made with them boys. And, man, I just can't ready to go to work, man.
I just remember his comment. We were talking to him about his speed and during the local pro day afterwards. And one of the comments he made was he never lost a race. And I thought, whoa, that's pretty good.
We'll be going to the University of...
School's very own Elijah Haven, the nation's top quarterback in the 2027 class, has officially committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. You hate to see it, but despite being right down the road from LSU, the Tigers were never really in the hunt to land Haven. The 5-star QB picked the Tide over Kirby Smart in Georgia.
At the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me and my family. You know, That's really all that matters at the end of the day. And we felt like Bama was the best option that can develop me not only as a person but a man as well. Just throughout the whole process, I feel like Bama's been the most consistent with the coaching. Coaches reaching out and building that relationship with them. It got crazy in the process with coaches moving to different schools, getting fired from jobs. Bama was just the most consistent, and we were able to build a very strong relationship with them.
Congrats, of course, to him and the Haven family, as well as the Dunham family over there as well. All right, we are not done yet. That man may win a Heisman, but who wins it next year? We call our shots right after this. Closing it out in your Louisiana Geaux Nation, of course, we have who you got. Chess Boucher against
you,
the winner, Brian Holland, every single week, of course. Okay, Heisman odds are out,
yes.
Joking aside. If you had to put your own skin in the game, and you're not named Brennan Sorsby, who would it be? Who you got? Call your shot for 2026.
I'm just going to put it out there. Arch Manning.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
And he would be the first and only Manning to win the Heisman Trophy. I think year 2 as a starter under Steve Sarkisian. He's one of the best play callers. He's going to take a huge jump forward. Give it to the Louisiana boy.
Look, you say Louisiana boy, and then I jump on board, but then it's like, he plays for Texas.
I know. It feels a little weird.
Mark it down. Darian Mensah.
Oh, wow.
Miami, you got a real one. Clip this right now. Today is April 30th, 2026. Your 2026 Heisman Trophy winner is Darian Mensah, University of Miami. Mark it down. All right, for Sarah Paul Chesky and Chess Boucher, I'm Brian Holland. Until next time, this is the Geaux Nation.